Start. Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of JDUB and Friends podcast. My guest today is Bill. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing
Uh,
good.
It's good to hear. Before we actually get into the first little bit of questions, I just want to shout out all my subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. And also, my first comment from Jordan James, who is Let Loose podcast, is doing real well right now. So shout out to Let Loose. Um,
Oh yeah.
but now with the shout, so this first little bit is because I have known you a little bit, watched you on Twitch, watched you.
Hey.
So I just have 5 questions. I'll get me and the viewers to know you a little bit better. So my first question is going to be involved with what we're talking about today, which is video games.
Okay.
My first question is, what is your Mount Rushmore of voice actors?
Mount Rushmore of voice actors. I mean, legitimately. So when I think about voice acting, I
Hmm.
mean, you gotta go with of course, Yuri Lowenthal.
Hmm.
I mean, he's in everything. I mean, there's a reason why he's in everything,
True.
and he's just very good. Another one that you know was very kind to me and rated me on Twitch, and I have a he's a cool dude, Joe Zija, that did Claude from Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Oh, okay.
He's fantastic. He does a bunch of stuff. I think he was just in. I think he just did an anime, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
But Joe Zija was fantastic. Now I forget the voice actor's name, but man, the guy that played Velva Torres from Disgaea 4.
Okay.
Oh my god. I cannot imagine that game without that voice actor.
Hmm.
And with they did a remaster on the Switch,
Hmm.
and they got a new voice actor to voice act some lines in his style, but you could tell it wasn't him. You could tell. It like it's a noticeable difference
Right.
between his normal lines and then that voice actor.
Hmm.
And the last one is a voice actress. I she had a lot of controversy, but I think it's Helena Taylor, the one that played Bayonetta from Bayonetta 1 and 2.
Okay.
Again, you know, I haven't played Bayonetta 3 yet,
Hmm.
but I can't just imagine anyone else playing that role as well as her.
Yeah, I understand that completely. Yeah, I actually just bought Bayonetta for the PS4, so got to get my feet wet.
Bay-
So.
Bayonetta, and Bayonetta 2 are fantastic. Uh, a, a, ma- a master class in action games. I really love those two games.
Hmm. Well, that actually goes into the second question that I have. What is your top 5 video games of all time?
Ooh, top five. Okay. So I've played way too many video games
Hmm.
for a very long time because I'm old as dirt. So I I mean Banjo Kazooie's gotta be in there.
Okay.
Banjo Kazooie's in there. Let's see. I'm still up in top five of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Uh, I would say Stardew Valley's in there
Hmm.
because that game being made by only a couple, like one person is just it's just astonishing that that game's so well made for
Hmm.
being that small of a team. Old school games were much more simplistic, even nowadays.
Well, yeah.
So that being made by one person nowadays is very impressive to me.
Hmm.
Man, this is a tough question
That's what we
because
like here.
because there's a lot in there. You know what? I'm gonna go unconventional with one of my top games because I wish there was a second game of this series,
Hmm.
and that is Sunset Overdrive.
Yep.
Sunset Overdrive is probably one of the 5 best open world games I've ever played.
Mm. Yeah, I've
And
started that one.
Sunset Overdrive, so good. The humor's fantastic. The characters are all memorable. You know,
Hmm.
it's just there's a lot to do in that game world. And
Yeah.
you know what? I think here's another great open world game that I would classify as one of my top like 15 games. Elden Ring. I
Okay.
mean, it's I mean, it's one of the very few times in my entire life I've put 10 hours into a game. I didn't just put it away and I was like, "Oh," after a couple hours I was like, "Oh, I'm done. I can play that again tomorrow and
Hmm.
do a couple more hours." No, I did 10 hours the first day and I was like, "Man, I wish I could get another couple hours in, but I really need to eat and sleep."
I understand that completely. All right.
So I think those would be my top 5 right now. That list constantly fluctuates,
Hmm.
but you know, I was thinking one of these days I was write down my top 100. I was like, God damn it,
You can
that's a
make
lot of work.
you can make that whole Twitch stream. There you go.
Oh yeah,
I'm going
very
through the
true.
list. So, speaking of video games, and you have your top five now. Let's say that somebody's brand new to the video game industry, has never played anything like that. What is one game that everybody should play?
What's one game everyone should play that's new to gaming industry?
Yep.
Uh, here's another one. That's in my top list, but it would start people off slow and steady. But
Hmm.
Donkey Kong Country 2.
Okay.
Donkey Kong Country 2 is another fantastic experience, and it's a game that you could learn very easily, but
Hmm.
yet it's really difficult to play near the end, and
Hmm.
it gives you that gradual ramp up, and you could teach someone how to play that game, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah," and then they gradually increase the mechanics, and it'll allow people to feel that sense of accomplishment in a way, you
Hmm.
know.
I completely understand that. Let's see. Second to last question for you. What do you consider the best console of all time?
The best oh my, okay. So I've pretty much owned a lot of consoles.
Hmm.
I would say probably my least favorite was the Xbox One because man oh man, that thing turned into a paperweight very quickly.
Hmm.
So, you know what? It's tough because I would say if I was to rank them, that'd be like 1A, 1B, and 1C.
Okay.
And I would say PlayStation 2 is definitive. PlayStation 4 is definitive.
Hmm.
And I would say the Super Nintendo is definitive.
Okay. Yeah, I
Like,
understand that.
uh, I think there's a lot of really great experiences that you get on the PlayStation 2 where a lot of series started.
Hmm.
Lots of stuff that again started off in like the PS, maybe even the Xbox 360. The 360 was a damn good console as well.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, if I'm going generations, uh, NES, SNES, then the following generation would be the PlayStation 2, the 360, the PS4, and then this generation would be PS5.
Hmm.
And that's not I'm not trying to be like a PlayStation fanboy, quote unquote, but
Hmm.
it's just, you know, where I enjoy a lot of experiences and get a lot of RPGs and a lot of differing experiences. Like I love the Switch, and don't get me wrong, I love the Switch, but the
Mhm.
PS5 has, Resident Evil 4 remake and Evil West,
Mhm.
and Switch has, Mario Kart, but Evil West and Resident Evil 4 remake? Come on! Who doesn't like
Right.
blowing off zombies' brains and and all that fun stuff?
True. Very true. So let's see. Last question. Who do you think is the most underrated video game character of all time?
Underrated. Ooh, okay. Underrated.
Mhm.
Underrated video game character. I feel like Final Fantasy X's Tidus is
Mhm.
underrated. You know why? Because he's always laughed at because of that laugh.
Mhm.
The meme laugh. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, he's turned into a giant meme. But yet, if you really look at the character himself and
Mhm.
the growth he does, like he's one of those characters that grows exponentially throughout his entire adventure. And it's just undone by one thing that you think is a meme, and it just overshadows everything that that character is.
True. Very true.
You know,
Yeah. I think.
and I feel like that meme thing did a disservice to his character.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a one of those games I believe that hot take anyways had some of the best stories for the characters like from beginning to end out of
Yeah,
any series. I mean, like you had Waka as a good explanation because at the beginning he hates certain people. Not gonna kind of ruin the story, but he hates certain people, and at the end of the game, he is more
right.
accepting and stuff like that.
Yeah, or Riku or
Hmm.
Lulu. I mean, all the characters grow in some way
Yep.
and are just infinitely you can relate to a lot of the struggles that they go through,
Hmm.
and you know and a lot of those sort of things are just destroyed by just some of the memes that come out of, oh, Titus laugh,
Yeah,
and I get it, it's funny, but it also does the game a disservice.
I understand that completely. So now that the viewers and myself know you a little bit better, let's get into what games you're currently playing and what games are you currently looking forward to.
Ooh, okay. So the games I'm currently playing. So I might have a slight addiction to a battle royale named Apex Legends, a
Okay.
game I play every day. I have way too many. I put way too many hours into it.
Hmm.
Uh, I think I'm pushing 1,500 hours on that game, something like that.
That's a lot.
So I've put way too much time into that game, and it needs to stop. But I'm addicted, and I can't stop. I can't stop, man. It's like a drug.
Hmm.
But the other games I'm playing, of course, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yep.
I mean, I'm a big Zelda fan, so Tears of the Kingdom. I had to buy that. I
Hmm.
have to. You had to experience that. I'm still experiencing it very slowly. I'm very much enjoying taking it very slow and not paying attention to Twitter and all the cool shit that people are building.
Hmm.
And then one other game I'm playing through and it's on stream. It's Advance Wars, which
Yep.
hits my strategy. It hits my strategy itch.
Hmm.
Uh, because I'm a big fan of stuff like Stratego and Risk and that sort of stuff. So, I mean, Advance Wars is right up my alley. So that's something I'm currently playing. And as for the future, I mean, I'm looking forward to a few games. Obviously with E3 season coming around,
Hmm.
there'll be announcing some stuff. But I've been looking at Mortal Kombat 1. Of course, Mortal Kombat. I loved Mortal Kombat growing up, so I
Mhm.
mean, uh, but stuff like the Plucky Squire, that looked
Mhm.
interesting. Looked like a really interesting, like Paper Mario meets 3D. It's like Paper Mario
Mhm.
meets Super Paper Mario in a weird ass way, and it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Uh
haven't seen that one yet, but I'll have to look into it.
oh yeah, Plucky Squire. It looks really interesting.
Mm.
Uh, Final Fantasy 16. I mean, uh, I I hope it's a step up from 15, but with
Mhm.
Yoshi P, uh, you know,
Right.
I think it's yeah. Uh, Leading the charge. I'm very confident in that game. I'm hoping it'll be very good, and that way I can play it 3 times and maybe play it on stream.
Mhm.
And Disgaea 7. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I've played every Disgaea. Disgaea 7's coming out in November. So I was like, "Oh, I can't wait for that game to come out." Then I'm gonna sink another 100 hours into trying to get my characters all to level like 250.
Yeah. Now I'm asked a weird. Yep. Yeah. Hollywood Video Blockbuster. Was there any games that you rented that you were like, oh, this was a bad mistake?
Oh, bad mistake video games. Let me think. I rented way back in the day something that was a bad mistake. It was a learning game. It was like wasn't it like Hotel Mario or something? It was or Mario's Missing or something like that.
Okay.
It was like some Mario learning game. I was like, why the hell did I rent this? I'm doing enough learning as it is.
Hmm.
I'm in school at the time, like a youngster. I was like, oh, the one game I can rent. And I rented a freaking learning game. Oh, great. Or I mean, the other thing I rented a few times was Bubsy way back in the day.
Okay. Yep.
Bubsy. I still have fond memories of falling off cliffs and disintegrating in that game. It's great.
Yeah, I think they just brought a sequel out, a Bubsy, like maybe a couple years ago. But it's on the PlayStation Network.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
I did not realize they brought out a new Bubsy. I
Yep. I don't.
must, I must, I
Yeah, I
must,
don't.
I must, I must look this up now.
I don't remember the name of it, but I know it's like a sequel to it.
Oh, I'll look it up. I must see this.
Now, besides the games you named that you're playing right now and you're looking forward to, do you have any like set game like genres that you're really attracted to?
Pretty much everything that isn't a puzzle game.
Okay.
Like legitimately, I've never been one to uh really look at genre or look at console and be like,
Hmm.
"Oh, I don't play that." Like
Hmm.
I got into specific ruts during not ruts,
Hmm.
but specific lanes during time like
Hmm.
PS2 era. Like my first RPG I bought on the PS2 was Final Fantasy X, and
Okay.
then I bought Radiata Stories, I bought, Xenosaga, I bought a bunch of stuff, Suikoden. Like I bought a lot of RPGs all at once
Hmm.
because I wanted to experience that because I didn't play a lot of that when I was a teenager because I was playing stuff like Madden and NBA
Yeah.
Live and and I was in that rut, not rut, but in that lane for a while.
Hmm.
And I constantly find myself in like lanes and like recently I've been in the action adventure lane
Okay.
for whatever reason. So I would say it's a thing of lanes for me, but
Hmm.
every so often I'm like, okay, this RPG is pretty dang fantastic right now. Like Persona 5, that was my first Persona.
Wow.
I've been playing. I was playing a bunch of action games. I played that, and that's another game that I put 10 hours into and didn't think twice about. But yeah, I think mine is just I don't. The only thing I don't play is puzzle games, just because I feel like I'm terrible at puzzles.
So no Pokemon what's that Pokemon
No
Puzzle
Pokemon
League?
Puzzle League or the one puzzle game that I will recommend to anybody
Mhm,
is Catherine. Catherine is a fantastic puzzle game.
mhm.
That's it. That's an experience.
Yeah, yeah. Especially being from is it Atlas, I think did that one, right?
Yeah, Atlas did that.
Yeah. Now, my other question that kind of goes along with your games you're looking forward to and stuff like that is, let's say that I don't know if you collect video games or if it's just kind of like you play them until
I
beat them and then you sell them after that or whatever.
No, I keep everything.
Okay, cool. So, is there any games that are out there that you're like, this is my holy grail? This is a game I absolutely need to have, even, though you can't find it. It might be like rare, might be expensive, but you're like, I need to get this
There's
game. My holy grail is this one.
there's some stuff that I don't own that I'm going to be actively looking for in the coming future.
Hmm.
Uh there's a PS2 game that I actually had to sell because, long story short, I had to sell it for a little bit of monetary reasons back in '08. Just a long story short, uh
Hmm.
some bad shit happened. And so I want to get that game back. It's a game called Chaos Legion from
Oh
the
yeah.
PS2. Oh man, I want that game back.
Yep.
But like stuff like there's a PS2 game called Coldcept that I was
Okay.
looking into. It's kind of like an RPG mixed with Monopoly.
Oh, okay.
Uh and then there was another one that I owned that I had to sell way back in the day. That was called uh Cholip. It's
Oh yeah.
it's a game.
Yep.
It's a really fucking crazy obscure game of basically you gotta kiss everyone in town.
Yep. Yep. I actually
It,
watched a Let's Play of that game.
oh, that game, I owned it.
Hmm.
It's crazy. I love it. It meets my personality perfectly, and I really like that.
Hmm.
But I would say I got my Holy Grail game a few years ago, and that was Suikoden 2.
Oh yeah.
You know, that one was my Holy Grail. I wanted that game really bad. I bought it for like 150 bucks. I was like, you know what? I don't care.
That's actually pretty cheap compared to what it's gone up to now.
Oh yeah,
It's insane. Like that game, there's a few of them. I'm like, good grief! Like Earthbound's expensive, and I think the nice thing is though, it's on it's been on the Wii and the Wii U and Switch and all that stuff now, so the price is coming down a little bit on the physical because
yeah,
now people are looking for it as physical unless
yeah,
they're collectors now. But
yeah.
I think that's expensive. I mean, Suikoden 2, even Suikoden 1 is expensive.
Oh yeah.
Um,
You
but
know, maybe another one would be Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem. That's another game I want to get my hands on.
okay.
Oh my god. If you're I'm always looking for more stuff to play. And I'm
Mhm.
always like, you know, looking at my backlog and stuff I want to stream.
Yeah.
Like, oh god, stop. Please stop.
I understand that completely. Yeah, I bought one of my favorite games of all time, Legend Dragoon. It came on the PS5 now and the PS4.
Ooh.
And yeah, I was like I have it on the PS1, but it's like, man, it's one of those games I just love, and I'm waiting for either a remake or a sequel or a prequel, even a prequel. I'd love to play as the original Seven Dragoons and as a prequel to the first game, just that'd be amazing. But
Right. Oh
I don't.
yeah.
Sadly, I don't think they'll ever do it, but we'll see.
Oh,
Um,
I mean, weirder stuff has happened. I mean,
true.
whoever thought that ActRaiser would get a remaster, and
Yeah.
they did a remaster of ActRaiser. So I mean, if ActRaiser can get a remaster, that can get a remaster. Damn it!
True. True. It's actually random trivia for viewers. But Legend Dragoon was the first JRPG that actually sold more in America than it did in Japan.
Oh damn!
Yep.
I did not know that. So
Yep.
hell yeah, I learned something today.
So, question for you. So, a lot of the games, the last couple of years, the big ones, Cyberpunk, um, trying to think of other ones. No Man's Sky was another one. But the video games that have been coming out, some of them have been, in a way, incomplete. Do you
Yeah.
think that's infected the video game industry in a negative light, or do you think it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, ooh, the game's coming out. Let me see if it's actually as bad as everybody says, and it's actually getting them more copies that they're
Right.
selling.
I mean, I think it's twofold. I think that can be the case, and I think it can also be harmful to the industry as a whole.
Mhm.
I mean, like if we really think of it, uh bad video games in incomplete states, or just it, the Redfalls of the world.
Mm,
The Redfalls of the world that come out can I mean, they were promised as experiences,
mm,
and you're going to get a lot with this game. It's $70,
yeah.
and and you get broken AI, you
Mhm.
get incomplete textures, you get and people will be like, well, if I'm getting this for a $70 experience, I could go to 3 movies for that same amount of money. Maybe two. I don't even know what price of a ticket for a movie is nowadays.
Depends on the day.
The last movie I went to was like in the mid '90s. So
Ooh, wow.
yeah,
That's a long.
I'm not a big movie guy, but
I understand that.
uh, but like 2 to 3 movie tickets for that, I
Mhm.
could go to 2 to 3 movie tickets, and have an experience in a theater with a bunch of other people, and do that sort of stuff. Or I could spend that $70 and go to a concert or something, get crappy seats, but hey, I'm at a concert.
Right.
You know, you could do so much with that $70. At some point, people are gonna be like, if you shovel out too many $70 broken messes,
Hmm.
people are gonna be like, yeah, I'm not going to buy this garbage.
Hmm.
And then you're gonna see the the Microsofts of the world who are shoveling out this trash, or the EAs of the world shoveling out this trash,
Hmm.
consistently lose money from those ventures, and then you're gonna see them shuttering stuff like Bethesda. You're gonna see them shuttering stuff like Respawn, or
Hmm.
those sort of studios. And what needs to happen and what won't happen,
Hmm.
because it's a for-profit corporation, so the deadlines,
Hmm.
it they're gonna shovel these garbage games out, and then they're gonna cut jobs constantly, as you can see with like EA and Microsoft. They hit these deadlines and release broken games, don't meet expectations, and then you get indie games
Hmm.
that are made by significantly fewer people for a significantly longer time that do better.
Hmm.
And
True.
that's where the industry is going. The
Mm.
indie route, I feel like everyone's starting to swerve away from the AAA,
Hmm.
because there's there's no soul in those games.
Mhm.
Like, if you really think about it, the companies that are keeping the soul alive of video games in the AAA gaming sphere,
Mhm.
Capcom, Nintendo.
Yeah.
You know, everything else, soulless.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why people. I mean, and here's the other thing: is indie games that are really creative, like Inscription.
Mhm.
That's a really creative game in the PC market space. You know, creative stuff doesn't exist in the AAA market anymore.
Mhm.
There's nothing creative there. It's
True.
all the same stuff. So, I mean, bad games are killing it, but also the lack of creative games are killing it as well.
Now, do you think that a lot of them, I know it's like time constraints and stuff like that, but do you think a lot of it's also the customers, like they know that we're gonna buy the game no matter what? Because we'll like,
I
oh, there's eventually gonna be a patch, they'll fix this or whatever.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it is a portion of an apathetic crowd that will buy it and be like, "Oh, it'll be good in 6 months."
Mhm.
You know, like Cyberpunk, it'll be good in 9 months. Just
Yeah.
give it some time, it'll be good.
Mhm.
You know? And I personally, if I'm getting charged $70 to buy a game, I don't want to wait 9 months for it to be good.
Mhm.
Like, I want to know it's good at the beginning. Like, uh, I was excited for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Like, I was really excited for Cyberpunk, and then I started seeing what was happening.
Mhm.
And I watched some streams of it the first day and watched some of the AI literally clipping into the wall and being like, "Well, I don't think I'm spending $70 on this."
Yeah.
Or, watching the same character just phase into existence in front of you, and it's like
Mhm.
seven of the same people walking there, and it's like, you know, I'm not a big person that gets caught up in immersion, but when you see something really stupidly funny like that,
Yep.
you just gotta laugh,
Mhm.
and that's what I did.
Yeah, the only
I
person. Oh, go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna say I literally watch like compilations of streamers just reacting to Cyberpunk's glitches, and it was really funny.
It's funny that the only person that wasn't really affected by that game was Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves, man.
He just kind of set himself. He was like, the spokesman for it, and oh man, the game's gonna be great. And then all of a sudden, the game came out, and didn't even affect him at all. It was just like, oh,
Goodbye.
yep,
But you know what? The gaming world loves Keanu
oh
Reeves.
yeah,
They don't love the game itself. You
yep.
know,
Everybody loves
Keanu.
Keanu.
I mean, if Keanu, literally, we all remember his iconic moment. I love
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, yep, yep. That meme that became a whole meme for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Now, with also being video games being incomplete or stuff like that, do you think DLC is a good thing? Do you think DLC is a bad thing? Do you feel like since their game's not, complete, like when back in the PlayStation 2 era, PlayStation 1, failed the
I
game on the disc and everything like that, everything, was set. But do you think DLC is a good thing for the game because it makes it bigger, or do you think that's stuff that they could have added originally and then they just decide, and we'll get more money from them another way?
I'm cool with DLC. I think DLC is a net positive.
Mhm.
It can be a net positive if done correctly. Now, where I have an issue with it is if the game itself is, you know that it was piecemealed. Like,
Mhm.
and my specific example is Final Fantasy 15.
Mhm.
That game was specifically chopped up and made very hard to understand without the DLC.
Mhm.
And when you play the DLC, you get all the backstory you need for the characters to make you like them.
Yeah.
I don't like that because one, it's stuff that came out 6-9 months later,
Mhm.
and you lose everything from the story, and it's like, oh, I'm coming back, and I need to get to like 70, like 35 hours into the story for this one specific sequence.
Mhm.
That's not how you handle it. Now, stuff where you get free chunks of DLC, like Resident Evil added in Mercenaries mode, Resident Evil
Mhm.
4 added in Mercenaries mode. I'm fine with that.
Mhm.
Like me, I'm buying DLC outfits. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with uh, I'm fine with extra side missions that don't affect the story in a way that
Mhm.
is detrimental to your understanding of the story. You know,
Mhm.
like as long as the main core of the story is not piecemealed and locked, I'm
Mhm.
good with it. It'd be something different if and the other thing is price point. Price
Mhm.
point has to be you know, decent amount, not like some crazy amount of money either.
Right. I understand that completely. Now, do you think that, like, let's say what Nintendo's done lately with the Wii U and the Switch, like the where they call them deluxe games, where they basically are adding like Donkey Kong Country Returns, Tropical Freeze came out on the Wii U and also came on the Switch, but like when it came on the Switch, all it was added was I believe an extra Kong or something like that, but everything else is the same. Do you feel like they paying like I think it was 40 or $50 for that game, whereas you had on the Wii, if you had on the Wii U, it's like it's not really worth it for one character to, pay basically a brand new game again.
Right. I think I think of the Switch and the Wii U. I think they're a special case
Hmm.
because literally the Wii U, uh, if you find a Wii U out in the wild, you're very lucky
Hmm.
because no one bought that thing. So I mean, I own one, and
Me too.
I know you probably own one as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, when you can't even get Nintendo people to buy a Wii U,
Hmm.
you have an issue. But
Right.
I think of I think the Switch versions of Wii U games
Hmm.
are almost, I would say, would almost characterize them as almost remakes
Hmm.
rather than adding a little bit of DLC and that sort of stuff. I almost characterize it almost like remakes, and like the Wii U does not exist. That's like Nintendo telling you, "Hey, that era,
Hmm.
those 6 years don't exist. We're selling you a like Mario Kart Deluxe, a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Hmm.
Like that DLC, I think is the perfect DLC.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most perfect DLC ever created because it doubles the game.
Hmm.
You already have a great game in Mario Kart 8, and you get a bunch of crazy tracks to play. That's perfect DLC. So
Right.
I think I think that sort of stuff like Nintendo related is almost, I characterize that almost like remakes
Hmm.
personally.
I understand that. Now the big one that everybody is either on the fence or they hate it, or I rarely hear that people like it, is the gacha games, like ones that you have to spend money to get this character, or spend money to get this item or whatever, or
Right.
sometimes you're just have to open something and you hope you get what you need but you don't most of the time.
Right.
Do you think
Yeah.
that is something that's affecting video games in a negative way too?
I feel like part of it is affecting people in a negative way. It's fostering. I feel like a little bit of it is fostering gambling addiction in a way.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, or as EA would put it, happiness mechanics. Uh, but that happiness
Hmm.
is only short lived. It's only a little bit of a hit of dopamine. You hit that. I got that. I got that character.
Hmm.
And it's like, eh. I mean, I think there's a place for it in gaming as
Hmm.
long as you go into it not wanting to spend any money.
Hmm.
Like I went into like stuff like Overwatch, with the loot boxes, the loot box
Yeah.
system. I was like, you know, if I get what I want, I'm cool with it. And if I don't get what I want, oh well, whatever.
Right.
You know? And I think I would be the same way with gotcha games, but what they make it harder for you because, you know, they have this really cool thing
Yeah.
and they really want you to get it.
Hmm.
And they're like, and it plasters it right there, and they're like, "You really want this?"
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, but do I really want it? And
Right.
that's nah.
Am I really interested in this?
Yeah, like they're like, hey, you could get this cool character,
Hmm.
or you could get this cool character, different alternative version of this character.
Right.
Yeah, no, no, thanks. Like I think it harms the industry if too many people get addicted
Hmm.
because then you'll have a community of addicts
Hmm.
that eventually will spend themselves out of money, and then you won't be making any money off of uh anything in the future, and you're just gonna constantly need new sources of income.
True. Yep. Yeah, I can see it, going toward more, that like, oh, we need to buy this new item. I think it's gonna end up being a lot more games. I mean, there's a lot of games that has it right now, but I think it's gonna pop up in a lot more now.
Oh yeah. Like I mean, look at the free to play stuff.
Hmm.
Like anything free to play, like Fortnite, Apex.
Yep.
I think the way to go is the battle pass system. The battle pass system gives you that dopamine hit,
Hmm.
and it it's not gambling. You know what you got.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. Fall Guys, where they have, where you can have the free run, but you can also, if you want
Yeah.
to buy, more of this stuff, you can actually get it in the line. You can see what you're gonna get instead of
Yeah.
having boxes.
Exactly.
I understand that.
Exactly.
Um, I guess my last couple questions for you. Do you think that the video game industry is going to keep growing, or do you think we're going to hit a section of video games that's going to be like, oh no, video games kind of crashing at the moment?
I mean, I th- I think both can be true. I think gaming itself will continue to grow.
Hmm.
I think the triple A market is going to crash.
Okay.
And I think we're already starting to see the crash of the triple A market. I
Hmm.
mean, you're starting to see companies like EA wanting to be sold. You're starting to see, Activision Blizzard getting bought by Microsoft. Like that that's a sign of the industry not doing so well right now.
Hmm.
That consolidation. I mean, and I think the most innovative stuff is not going to come out of AAA
Hmm.
anyway. The Where gaming is growing is in the indie market. The indie market, they know what the audience wants. They cater to that market because they're in a sea of a larger pool of indie games that come out every day.
Hmm.
So they have to be different to stand out. Stuff like Hades
Hmm.
or and it's crazy saying that Hades is an indie game because you know you could almost classify that as a triple A like title
Hmm.
because of how well it's made, but it's 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 mind-boggling. The audience wants a certain thing,
Hmm.
and certain companies know what that thing is, like Bandai Namco know,
Hmm.
like Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Bloodborne, Dark Souls.
Yep.
They know what their bread and butter is, and Microsoft and Ubisoft and EA do not know anything.
True. Yeah. Uh, uh, Atlas, I think, is another one that has their pulse or their finger on the pulse of people
Sega,
too. Yep.
Sega's very good at, like Yakuza.
Mhm.
Like Yakuza Like a Dragon's one of my favorite RPGs of all time, and they took a brawler and turned it into an RPG, and
Yep.
fantastic RPG.
Yeah. I would say Sega, it listens to their fans except for when it comes to Sonic.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sonic. They put their fingers in their ear and they're like blah 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 blah.
Yep. Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
hear you.
Yep. Exactly. Now, it is, nearing the end of the episode, but I have
Okay.
one more question for you. The
All right.
gaming level as it is, you got PC, you got game or the Nintendo Switch, you got PS5, you got the Xbox. What of those four, I mean, would you say that is winning the quote unquote video game race?
Right now, winning. I would say. I mean, it's hard to go against what the Switch is. The
Hmm.
Switch is, uh, you know, the all-in-one where you got all these. Cr- I mean, just think of the RPGs that are on there.
Hmm.
Just, just, just that section itself. Not to mention, Nintendo's other IP.
Hmm.
You know, that's that's a fantastic library. I
Yeah.
think the PS4 is or the PS5 is going to be the biggest of the, the Ultra HD, like consoles. I
Hmm.
think Microsoft is going to be probably in the PC market sooner rather than later.
Hmm.
I think in the next 5 years. I think Microsoft is going to be in cloud gaming and in using Game Pass as like the standard bearer of cloud based
Hmm.
stuff. And you know, I, I think right now I think it's a two-horse race, and it's the Switch and the PS5.
Hmm.
I don't think the Microsoft deal with Activision is a good thing, and I
Hmm.
don't think a lot of these consolidation moves are good.
Hmm. I understand that completely. So you're saying that you think the Xbox
I think
series.
Xbox is in fourth place. If we count, I would say Switch is one right now,
Mhm.
PS5 is two, PC is three, and Xbox is four.
Now, do you think so? You're thinking that Xbox eventually just not be
I
creative more, and then it'll just be all Microsoft will keep its eye on the PC, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah. I feel like if they want to keep in the gaming market,
Hmm.
I selling hardware is hard enough. You
Hmm.
know, putting your stuff onto a cloud-based service is easy, and then you don't have to design architecture at all.
True. Yep,
You
I didn't
know,
think about
you
that.
just go with existing architecture, and you don't have to develop and spend money and resources.
Hmm. Yep, I totally understand that. Yeah, I didn't even think. I mean, yeah, for at this point, really, Microsoft basically has their hand in two baskets at the moment. They got their console and they got their,
Yep.
PCs.
Yep. And you can tell where their focus is if you
Hmm.
look at their what's the first thing they say after world premiere? First on Game Pass.
Yeah,
You know, it's not like, oh, first on Xbox.
yeah,
No, it's first on Game Pass.
yep.
You
They don't.
know,
Yeah, and Xbox doesn't have that exclusivity that PlayStation or Sega Nintendo do either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, I feel like Microsoft is, I feel like they are losing the race,
Hmm.
and they're trying to make up for that with, making crazy purchases for no reason.
Yeah. Maybe just build up their PC side of it, maybe in the future.
Exactly.
But well, thank you for being here on this episode. It was a nice long episode. Talk about video games. I know we're both big into video games,
Oh,
and
yeah.
obviously with your streaming. And I just play them, but I'm gonna try and get into streaming and
Oh,
let's
yeah.
playing pretty soon. So here comes
Hey.
that. But yeah, I'll learn from the best actually right here with the Sample Man, aka Bill.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
where can they actually come and watch you on Twitch?
Oh, yeah. So I am on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 5:30 Eastern Time. At twitch.tv/ the sample man, former let's player of like 14 years ago, goddamn. And yeah, so you'll be able to find me there, and I upload everything over on my channel, Slightly Irritated, but you know,
Okay.
I don't even worry about that. Just come to Sample Man stream. We have some good times. Yeah.
Definitely can vouch for that. I mean, talk about anything football and video games
My
there, and
minus whenever I'm screaming at bosses of a video game. God damn you!
yep, true, very true. But is
Oh,
there any other place you want to shout out or anything like that?
no, I think I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again for being on this episode.
Oh,
Definitely gonna
heck
have you
yeah.
back pretty soon. I know you're a Lions fan, so
Oh yeah.
maybe have you back for a Lions episode pretty soon when before season starts. So see what
Oh
happens.
yeah. Oh yeah. I'm quietly looking forward to it.
I understand that completely. They look like a good team this year.
Oh yeah. Hell
So,
yeah.
well, thank you again, and thank you all for watching episode 3 of JDUB and Friends. And see you next week for episode 4. Have a great night.